Welcome, Eagle fans, to the McDonald's OCS Football Coaches Show. I'm here with head coach Stephen Fitzhugh. And, Coach, I'm glad to be back in the saddle. I'm glad. I'm thankful for Mike Gray, and I thought he did a great job at last week's Coaches Show. And, you know, each week we talk about what week it is, and I'm done talking about weeks. It's December. We'll talk about a month.
If you're getting to play football and listen to Christmas music at the same time, that's a blessing. That's a good thing. So, yeah, it is. It's great to always be playing in December. That's what I told the kids yesterday. You know, it's great to play on Thanksgiving. It's even better to play after.
Yeah, yes, that's right. And semifinals, you know, we're going to the semifinals. Got to make a road trip this week. This will be the 6th consecutive trip for OCS to the semifinals. And but before we get into that, I do want to talk about the game against Covenant Christian. Of course, I wasn't there. I wasn't able to broadcast that game, but I'm thankful for Heath over here, who does a great job with our live stream. I watched every play, kept up with it, and I mean, what a blessing it is to have somebody like Saul Graves to hop on the radio and fill in. So that's what I told David last night. Nobody's better than Saul when it comes to football.
Hey, those guys, he and David, they started doing, I guess, 2010, and that was our first year back in the Dome, and had a pretty good run after that. And they got a lot of years of experience, and all of y'all do a great job.
Well, I enjoy it. I really did. Miss being there, and you know, the live stream is great, but there's nothing like being there in person. And anyway, it was a good win. It was a good win, a quarterfinal win to move on to the semifinals. I thought our guys played good, and I'm going to tell you what I thought it was. I thought it was our first dogfight in the trenches of the year. I mean, it was just a battle in the first half. The first half ended, we were up 3-0, and it was just back and forth. In the first quarter, I have it written down here somewhere. I think we had 14 yards in the first quarter. CCA had 28 yards. So it was just a dogfight in the first quarter. So we go into the second quarter, and we finally figure something out. We go on a drive, and we end up with a field goal. What did we figure out on offense there in the first half?
Well, I mean, you know, the opening drive, you couldn't get any better in the sense of wanting things to happen. Our defense stuffs them, and they muff their snap on the punt. A penalty hurt that first drive and put us behind the sticks a little bit. And so, you know, that's just part of the game. Penalties will set you back a little bit, stuff like that. And so, again, didn't have anything that first drive, but we did put a couple of good drives together. And then, again, we felt like we needed to get points on the board after such a good drive. We took that field goal and then had another great drive right before half. That was a fabulous drive, and just you know, we have several linemen that do play on both sides of the ball, but Covenant, they had several guys playing both ways as well, and you know, I felt our guys, you know, between the run and the pass, you know, really kept them off balance, and things just started clicking better for us. And again, a lot of times it may just be one person here or one person there on a blocking assignment that it ruins the whole play. And we just got better in sync. And again, things started clicking. And I thought it was a great drive right before half. And that's what we talked about at halftime. Let's pick up where we left off right there. You know, a couple of yards short, ran out of time. But they did. They picked up right there in the second half. And, you know, that opening drive was just fabulous.
Yeah, and I mean, the third quarter was great. And you mentioned, you know, it comes down to maybe one guy. Number 21, Lucas Lally for Covenant Christian. He had 17 tackles. He was kind of a menace to our offense throughout the game, and you know, it seemed like one of those guys that it was just kind of hard to find him, you know, to put a body on him because he kept finding his way to the ball. I thought Covenant Christian did a good job on defense, especially early on in the game.
They did, and we knew looking at film that those guys are scrappy, get after it, play hard every single play. You know, I thought, you know, number 10 for them, that defensive end was a factor. And again, they played hard and you know, again, just made several good plays. And again, that's the way two teams in the quarterfinals. That's the way it should be. Again, they had an undefeated team, and you know, it wasn't by accident. And so, But yeah, just proud of our guys, the way that they kept plugging, kept fighting, kept executing, and again handling adversity that came their way. And again, I think that's something that they have, as you mentioned, being in the fire, in the trenches, a tough, hard battle. That that's what it is when you hit the playoffs. And again, I thought being in that situation at Catholic Point Capee, that they handled adversity well and with a level head, and I thought they handled it well this past week.
Well, you said it before. I mean, if you limit your mistakes, you've got a chance to win games. But I think that the tried and true formula to win when it comes to postseason play is the ability to run the ball and the ability to stop the run. And I thought that's something that we did the other night. We held the Lions to 26 yards on 20 carries throughout the game, 1.3 yards per carry. On the flip side of that, Macon Leonard had a huge night, 22 carries, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns. Luke Vadrine had 10 carries for 64 yards. Turpin added a couple carries. Jude had 6 carries, and so we ran 43 times for 287 yards and 4 touchdowns.
That's big. It is. Get your running game established, and again, you can eat up clock time with that. And so much of those rushing yards did come in the second half too. And I thought Luke, his reads were timely on his runs and things like that. That he made plays with his feet that were huge on some critical downs. Third downs and things such as that. But again, our O-line did a great job of just continuing to pound, continuing to communicate, execute, and did a great job. And so to be able to do that and get some ground game going was huge. And, yeah, proud of our defense. I thought it was one of the best defensive efforts that we've had in a long time. Just, again, to hold them to less than 30 yards rushing was huge.
Yeah, also, our offensive line did play very well to allow for almost 300 yards of rushing. Our defensive line, I thought, did a great job. Stacey Shaw and Landon Waller, they each had 3 tackles for loss. As a team, we had 10 tackles for loss and 3 sacks. So, kudos to our defensive line.
That's big. They get a lot of those guys. Waller's out there every play, but Jackson Mann and Turner and Stacey Shaw are 3 seniors that they all play on the offensive line too, and so those 3 kind of rotate between the other 2 spots on the D line, and they battled and played hard on both sides of the ball. And again, that's, as a senior, that's what you want to do.
Yeah, so the money plays, we've talked about the money plays before. On third down, we were 7 of 12. Covenant Christian was 4 of 9, and then on fourth down we were 2 for 2, and they were 1 for 3. So those money downs, if you can run the ball and then convert on the money downs, that's a good formula for success.
That's a big thing, and again, money downs are huge. To again move the sticks, keep the clock going, and keep advancing toward the goal line.
Yeah, so I thought it was a great game. It was a great win. One other thing that I want to talk about is kind of the evolution of some of our freshmen. Cooper Thomas, for the second week in a row, led our team in tackles. I know he's getting a lot more playing time on defense, but that happens when you can develop trust. I mean, these freshmen, they're still freshmen in school, but they've played 13 games now. They have 13 games under their belt. Tristan Raymond's getting out there, and so what's it like to watch these young guys kind of come into their own and also develop a level of trust between the coaches and their teammates?
We wouldn't put them out there if we didn't trust them, and so again, those are guys that they work hard. You see the great attitude in the weight room and practice, and again, they're guys that go hard, and you trust them, and again, that's from seeing them throughout the year, that if they're on a scout team, they're playing hard. And, so again, that's where that trust is built up is going throughout the workouts, the scout team, the conditioning and practice, things like that, they always give their best. They're going to do whatever they can, go hard. And again, learning and we don't see them as freshmen. I mean, if you're out there, you're out there with the big boys, and we don't go, well, he's a freshman or he's a senior. They're part of that group that's on the field, that 11, and it's one unit. And so, anybody out there on the field, like I say, you throw out whatever classification in, they've earned the trust that get the job done. And so it's neat to see them grow up as the year goes on, and again, develop that confidence, because first of the year they're pretty uncertain about things and don't understand everything, but they continue to grow and develop. And again, I wish at the end of their years when they graduate, I could take their brains out and put it in the new freshman that's coming in, so that but it's a learning process, and so they're doing great.
Well, it's learning by fire, because when you have a freshman out there, and it's not just freshmen, it's any age,
first year player.
Any first year player, the mistakes are going to happen. And we've seen those mistakes. I think Tristan bit on a little pump fake the other night, but you could see it. I could see it on the live stream, where it's like as soon as it happened, he was like, I'm learning from this, and he we stopped that guy. He runs him down, but it was good to see him bounce back, and I know that's something that's part of coaching. I think you guys do a great job of saying, hey, let's learn from those mistakes, and then those guys that do learn from those mistakes, that trust continues to improve. So it's good to see those freshman guys come out like that. We had a couple interceptions the other night. I thought our defense stepped up when we needed to. I think we were 5 of 7 in our red zone opportunities, and so it wasn't a perfect game, but you hope you play a perfect game, but I don't know if you ever play a real perfect game. But I thought we did what needed to be done against the team.
Yeah,
a good team.
I definitely think so, because again, Covenant was 11-0. They were the district champs down there in their area, and had an outstanding ball club. And so, again, I felt our guys played with the passion and intensity that we needed to come out and play with. And again, execution was well, and just a great playoff atmosphere, playoff win for us. Our crowd was great, providing the energy and support. That's one thing that, wherever we go, we know we're going to have a great crowd, and they're going to provide some energy.
Well, I know some people are building up some sky miles with the gas that they're buying, making these long trips. We got another one coming up soon. I told somebody yesterday we should have just set up a little temporary school in South Louisiana somewhere. But now we move on to the semifinals, and we've got a familiar team. Before I get to that, though, this Covenant Christian team, I almost feel like that's a team that we're going to see over the next few years in the playoffs, much like we've seen Acension Catholic recently.
Right. I agree. They had a coach in the second year and turned them around from 4-8 his first year, and they went 11-1 his second year, and again, the kids played hard. So yeah, they got an up and coming program for sure. All
right, well, Coach, we're going to take a quick break. Before we take the break, I do want to thank McDonald's. We're going to support them as they support us with our coaches show, and we'll come back and we'll talk about the Bulldogs from Acension Catholic. Stay tuned.
Looking for a reason to try the new $5 meal deal at McDonald's? Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the price makes 5.
So much.
That's everything you get with the new $5 meal deal at McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Welcome back, Eagle fans. We're here for our weekly coaches show. It's semifinal week. I don't even know what week it is, but we're playing football in December. We talked about that at the beginning of the show, and like Coach said, playing during Thanksgiving is great, but if you get past Thanksgiving and you're playing in December, the weather starts to get a little colder, and the games start to become a little bit weightier and more important as we look to make a trip to the Dome this year, get past the semifinals. We're going to face the Acension Catholic Bulldogs in the semifinals, and we've seen them recently. We saw them in 2022 and in 2021, and so this this is our third long road trip of the postseason this year, and I know that our Eagle fans are going to come out and they're going to watch the game, and hopefully we'll have a good performance. But this is a good team we're playing.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
They're 10-1, 11-1 on the season. Their only loss is to Dunham, who is playing in the semifinals of Division III, and has a 2-point game. So outstanding ball club Acension Catholic has. Chad Ely, the running back, was MVP of the state last year for Class 1A as he Last year rushed for 3,000 yards. He rushed for 350 last week in the quarterfinals against Riverside. So, and he don't do it by himself. I mean, has a quarterback that runs the offense well and offensive line that paves that way, full of juniors and seniors. And so again, they're a well polished team. They have a first year coach that has done a great job. And so then their defense has again played solid throughout the year against Dunham and Episcopal. Again, the two best teams probably on their schedule that they've played against, held both those teams to 20 points or less. And so, outstanding ball club on both sides of the ball, and a program that again they've had a few different coaches over the past 5 to 8 years, but they've always got kids that are just tough, hard-nosed kids, and continue to be a team that's going to be in the fight each and every year.
Yeah, we played them in 2021 and 2022. Bryce Leonard was their quarterback, and I remember that because I called both of those games from the broadcast booth. I remember that, and they were he was a thrower. They were a predominantly passing team, 25 attempts. We did a good job in, I think it was 2022. We had 5 interceptions against him. But the thing is, Coach, this is not the same team. Of course, we're not the same team either, but we're going to get a different look from the Bulldogs. You mentioned the running back. He's listed as 5'10", 175. Coach, he ain't 175.
No, that may have been a sophomore year that he was he probably goes about 210.
Yeah.
And reminds me of and he'd probably be able to admit to. I don't think he's 5'10.
No,
he may be 5'9", but for those of old days, he's like the old Earl Campbell.
Yeah.
I mean, that's who he is, a running back very similar to is a guy with speed and power.
Yeah, and you mentioned the amount of yards that he's had, and you're right, he doesn't do it by himself, but they're going to try to get him the ball as much as possible, and they'll do it a number of ways. He'll line up at running back, and they'll give it to him. He'll line up in the slot or the receiver position. They'll give him little slants and things like that, but they'll also go into a wildcat. And so what I want to ask you, Coach, is what's it like to prepare for I know you prepare for different formations, but when a team goes into wildcat or has the potential, if they find something there, they'll go to it. Is that something that you have to spend extra time preparing for throughout the week?
Well, defense philosophy, regardless of what type of defense a team runs, whether they run a 4-3, 3-4, whatever, 5-2, it comes down to gap assignment. And so, again, when he's in that wildcat, yes, the threat of, it's obvious he is going to run that ball probably 75% of the time when he's there. Now, again, they will do some other things out of it, but it comes down to, if there's anything different or it comes down to still gap assignment, each person doing their job, and being great tacklers. I mean, that's what, again, he's a big, strong runner, and it comes down to, play your assignment and be a great tackler.
Okay, so what else can we look for from this team? What else do they do on offense besides give the ball to number 2?
Well, they'll go a lot of different formations, and they will do a lot of motion. Probably there's no probably about it. They have motioned. We traded 4 films with each other, and they've motioned about 100 times during those 4 games, and so they're going to send people in motion this way, that way, and do different things with it. Sometimes the motion means something, sometimes it doesn't, and so bottom line again is our defense just has to focus on their task. Each one do their individual job, and each one individually does their job. It'll make the whole unit work better. But so again, they're multiple on offense, and again defensively, their defensive front, I think is one of the strengths of their team. Those guys have played solid and have controlled the run in just about every ball game that they have played, and so. Their defensive front solid, several seniors and juniors up there as well, and linebackers, DBs, they run to the football well, and again, just an outstanding football team.
Yeah, well, there's not very many teams left in the state that are there by accident. I don't know if any are, and so this is I expect this to be our toughest test of the season.
No doubt.
And I look forward to making the road trip. What's the logistically? What are we looking forward to? Kind of the same thing.
Well, we've done this. This will be the third week in a row, so we're kind of getting to know that road towards Baton Rouge, and so we'll get out of school at 10:30 on we'll leave at 10:30 on Friday, and hit the road, travel down, stop in Baton Rouge and eat lunch, and that way we'll be a little bit closer to their school and maybe past some of that early Baton Rouge traffic and stuff like that. So that's one thing fans need to plan for as well as they head down is from what I understand, there's some construction going on the Sunshine Bridge, which I don't know which one that bridge is.
There's probably a lot of bridges
that
down
relay
there.
that's been told to me. So, but then you got Baton Rouge traffic on a Friday afternoon, and so Donaldsonville's just on the other side. We passed through on the way back from Thibodaux, so we're not going as far this week.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get home at 3 a.m. rather than 4 a.m. So.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to ask. We're playing at Donaldsonville High School.
Yes, at Donaldsonville High School, Floyd Boot Stadium, and it's a nice turf field, and that's where they have played most of their games, and so yes, it is at Donaldsonville High School.
Okay, Donaldsonville High School. Plenty of room for Eagle fans.
Great stadium set up, everything.
Weather's not going to be a factor because it's turf and all those good things. All right, well, Coach, I hope we go down there. We put on a good showing. We kind of execute our game plan well again. I think our guys are ready for it, and I'm looking forward to a fantastic game. So, Eagle fans, I hope you're able to make it out. Come watch the Eagles take on the Bulldogs from Acension Catholic for the, third time in 4 years. And I just do want to mention we're 4-0 all time against them. And we've never played that. I say we never. The last time we played there was in 1987, and the rest of the games that we've played against them have been here.
Coach Harper could tell you some stories. I think that's the game that he would tell you. Dan Edgar came alive with counter pass.
Yes,
that
that's
was
right.
the first game we ever ran counter pass, and I think Dan Edgar was a freshman then, and had over 100 yards receiving on the counter pass play. So.
Well, somebody else, David Gordy, told me about that game because he was our tailback. I think he said Dan caught 2 touchdown passes in that game, and we won that game 22-14. And Acension Catholic had a pretty prolific running back named Jermaine Williams, who went on to play at LSU. So. But Jermaine Williams is gone. We get to see Chad Elzy and the rest of the Bulldogs. And so I hope everybody can make it down there. You can tune into the live stream or the MixLR app if you want to listen. But Friday night, 7 o'clock, Bootfield. Is that what you said it was? Yeah, Bootfield.
Boutee. I do not know how to pronounce all Louisiana names. I mean, that's why I'm not even going to try to pronounce the quarterback's last name, LaBouffe, LaBeouf. I don't know. It's South Louisiana, so – I hate to butcher up all the names.
Yeah, it's a fun roster. We're going to have to do our due diligence before the game starts from the broadcast booth. But
just find you one of those cages.
Yeah,
and
that's
ask
right.
them.
Yeah, they'll tell us exactly how to pronounce it. Well, Coach, I want to thank you again for taking the time. I know you got a lot to do in the next couple of days. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to thank McDonald's for partnering and sponsoring our weekly coaches show. So hopefully next week we'll be doing a preview to the Dome. Kind of a quick turnaround if that's the case.
It would be.
Yeah, but anyway, thanks for tuning in.
First things first.
First things first. Yep, Friday night.
Y'all.
Yep, thanks for tuning in.